In our last episode, the Fantastic Four did battle with the mysterious being known as the Crusader. The first round went to the Crusader, but now the FF are on the hunt. Will they survive? Well, yeah, I guess this isn't much of a question since the comic came out in 1975, and we all know they continued, so why don't you just go ahead and roll the opener. Welcome back to Kevin's Commentary on Comics. Yes, we will look at the second part of the FF storyline where they battle the Crusader. This is issue 165, written by Roy Thomas and drawn by George Perez and Joe Sinnott. What a creative team. The title? The Light of Other Worlds. We open with Reed Richards' Mr. Fantastic walking over the buildings of New York, heading for Greenwich Village to get more information on the Crusader. Now, it should be noted a few issues back in 161, Reed began suspecting that he was losing his powers as it was becoming harder to stretch. It seems to be doing okay here, but his thoughts led on that it's pretty easy to stretch down in a straight line. This is a subplot that carries out for a few issues. In fact, it may actually culminate right around issue 200 if my memory serves, and sometimes it doesn't serve me at all. So Reed learns that the Crusader's father needed money in order to complete a rocket to fly into outer space because apparently he felt the planet Earth was doomed. He was denied the loan by the banker who the Crusader almost killed last issue. Now, it sure looked like taking a chunk of concrete to the face would kill a normal man, but apparently he survived. Meanwhile, the Crusader shows up at a bank owned by the man he thought he killed and begins to destroy it. He continued to destroy more banks owned by the man in a rage of vengeance. The FF are getting fed up with the Crusader's actions and figures out that he only attacks during the day. Now, I love this panel where Reed is pointing to what is obviously a Marvel Comics calendar on their wall. Nice product placement there, Marvel. Suddenly an alarm sounds, which means the Crusader is striking again. Reed sends the rest of his team to go investigate while he stays behind to do something. As usual, Reed is being mysterious in his actions. Meanwhile, the Crusader is at another bank and attacks the bank manager, but luckily, that guy is saved by the Invisible Woman. Her, along with Johnny and Ben, confront the Crusader, and after failing to blind them, like he did Johnny in the last issue, the Crusader blasts a hole in the roof and jumps through. Again, it doesn't appear that he can fly. He mainly just seems to be using super strength to jump. I guess flying is something that Quasar figured out how to do, because he did it quite often once he had the bands. The Torch goes after the Crusader and reveals that he knows who he is. And this is where we get an origin story with that classic profile shot memory panels that George Perez does so well. We see that the Crusader's father made it to Uranus, where he raised his son in a city that is covered by a dome to protect them from, I assume, the icy conditions of Uranus. And, you know, you just have to giggle every time you say the word Uranus. His son went back to Earth a few times in the 50s as Marvel Boy. Now, on his final trip to Earth, he asked for a loan from the same bank that his father asked for medical supplies that he needed back on Uranus. He was denied it, and it took him some effort to actually get the money. But when he went back to Uranus, he discovered that the dome that protected the city had been breached, and the entire population was killed due to those icy conditions. If only he had been there and not been delayed by the banker. This pretty much drives him over the edge. He headed back to Earth but was put into a state of suspended animation due to a comet hitting his rocket, and years later he crashes on Earth. He planned his vengeance for over a year, and now we are all up to date, so the thing goes into action. The two of them battle for a bit, but then Reed arrives with a device that creates artificial clouds. You see, Reed, being the super smart guy that he is, figured out that the sun is powering the Crusader's bands, so he is blocking the sun from reaching him. Still, the Crusader has enough energy stored that he and the Thing have a massive fight, and man, I love a good fight with the Thing. Now, I've mentioned it many times before, but the Thing used to be one of the primo characters in the Marvel Universe, but became much less so over the past 20 years or so. This was when he was at his prime. The Crusader manages to get past the Thing and faces the rest of the team outside, but notices that he's becoming steadily weaker. He finally sets his band to absorb the maximum amount of solar energy he can handle, but this is a mistake, and we see in the almost cliche way of defeating a villain, overloading him with too much energy. The Crusader explodes into atoms, leaving only his bands behind. Hey, maybe someone could put those to good use. So the FF wonder what will happen next, but all the thing wants to do is forget the day ever happened. Well, I guess that means I'm Kevin, and that was my commentary. Man, the Fantastic Four was so good back in the 70s, and sure, the greatness came back during the Byrne years, but what did you think of them back when they were the premier team of the Marvel U? Let me know by leaving a comment below. Also, what did you think of the Crusader? Terrible name, but love the costume, and it's certainly why I liked Quasar right from the start. Now, the whole Uranus origin thing was kind of weird, but hey, it's comics, right? So I'll dip into more 70s greatness next time, and to see that, please make sure you click on that subscribe button. And while you do that, also go and have a great day, and I'll see you later.